Welcome back to Cooper's Peak. You've met Aurora Saunters now, and it's time to meet her grandson, Ody. During the summer vacation, Aurora taught Ody what she knows, some of it, about her teleportation and time travel experiences. He has a little knowledge under his belt, but not enough for the trip he's about to take. We're not going to read right now the event that sent him to Old Salem, but here's what happened when he landed. The name of the chapter is Ody Saunters Out of Time, and these are in the words of Ody Saunters. Steely fingers probed my skull, and a man's voice asked, "Kannst du sprechen, junger Mann?" Stop! My head! Wet, sticky hair covered the throbbing bump on my skull. Was that blood on my fingers? My eardrums pounded as I turned toward groans and mumbled men's voices. Are they praying? Am I dying? Ah, English, the man said with a nod. Archaic clothing, grizzled beard, commanding stature. Was that a star in his eye? The man was a wizard. I was dreaming. The wizard glanced toward the mournful sounds. No, it is not you for whom they pray, but they must be good at it. My patient screams have quieted. A healing wizard, then. Screaming patience proved he was not such a great healer. The man's thin face and stony expression matched his fingers. There was too much blood on his apron to have come from one wound. I cringed as he finished dabbing at my skull. He set his wet cloth aside and wiped more blood on his apron. Then he held my chin, turning my face left and right. "Watch me," he said, moving his finger up, down, and around in front of my face. He nodded, grunting his satisfaction that I could see, hear, and speak. "How did you come here?" he asked. I don't know." "You are bloody and you have no shoes." The man turned to a chest in the corner and brought a rough shirt, pants, and shoes. "The soldier who wore these needs them no longer." The healer's vice-like fingers dug into my arm as he helped me sit on the edge of the bed. The pain in my head was too sharp to be imaginary. The moaning was real enough. I dropped my hands from my skull and clapped them over my ears to muffle the distressing sounds from the other side of the plank door. My bare feet touched a warm stone floor as my sinuses closed in the stifling hickory smoke-filled air. Real stone. Real smoke. Was this man a genuine wizard? "Shirt first," the healer said. I uncovered my ears to swap Grandpa's pajama top and my school tee for the clean clothes stacked on the cot. The man held Grandpa's shirt near the fire, rubbing the buttons and fabric between his fingers. One eyebrow raised as he dropped the pajamas, and then he gasped, and both brows lifted at the sight of the vinyl Freedom High logo. He stuffed both shirts under the straw-filled mattress. The man pushed his face close. His breath smelled of brandy, and his gray beard prickled my chin. I shoved him away, asking, "Am I hurt? Or did I grow a new nose?" "Can you do that?" He drew back his head, eyeing me from a fresh angle. No, you cannot." He brought his nose within a few inches of mine and grabbed my shoulders, eyebrows raised to his hairline, forming 4 wispy bangs, and I could see a black, star-shaped discoloration in his silvery iris. He hissed through thin lips, "Who are you? Where did you come from, boy? Do you know Clayton Robbins? Are you here to cause trouble?" "Who's Clayton Robbins? I'm Ody Saunters. Cause trouble? Not me. Who are you?" He sighed as he studied the ceiling, and then his silver eyes met mine. He snapped a bow from the waist and said, "I am Augustus Newman." Then, relaxing his salute, he added, "Put on those clothes. I will keep your garments safe." The outfit was familiar. I had worn it. Long shirt and stockings, short pants, clothing from the 18th century. I was commuting, but how far had I come? Why had Oma not rescued me this time? Had I come too far? Was it possible she couldn't follow me? The healer carried my pants to the firelight, where he tested the elastic waist. His chest heaved as he shook his head, and then he collected my clothes and wrapped the bundle in his sack. When he had tied it shut, he tucked it in the bottom of his trunk. "Where am I?" I asked. "This is Salem, in North Carolina," he replied. Salem. Winston-Salem. Old Salem, as I knew it. A door creaked, and the healer held a finger to his lips. "Shh, be still." A taller man carried a conch shell into the room and conversed with the healer in German. "Who is this stranger? Another unfortunate soldier?" the tall man asked. "Good evening, Herr Nissen. The brethren send all the injured travelers to me these days," Newman replied. "This one, Ody Saunters, hit his head and remembers little, but I believe he came to find me. We shall know soon enough." "And your other patients?" Nissen asked with a cock of his head toward the dividing wall. I removed the musket ball from young Simmons, and the pain took his senses. He's quieter now, but still in danger. A friend of his, Clayton Robbins, brought Simmons to Salem and stands by him. Oh, that explained Clayton Robbins. The other soldier, Tilt, the one brought 2 days ago, sleeps with his fever. "What of the horse?" Nissen asked. Newman pointed to the door. "He stands in the yard, but his owner will not travel soon. The horse should be stabled, yes?" Nissen nodded. "I will walk him there on my rounds. The young dragoon will want to know what has become of his friend's horse. Perhaps Robbins will lead him for you." Nissen nodded. "I'll bring the soldier back here, Brother Newman. Thank you for what you do. We are short of healers these days." Fragments of conversation leaked through rough log walls, but I only understood the words of an unknown voice that must belong to the dragoon, Clayton Robbins. "I'll lead him for you, but don't blow that shell trumpet. He's skittish." The baritone voice spoke English. When their conversation faded from the hut, Newman turned back to my care. "What rounds does he do?" I asked. "Oh, du sprichst Deutsch. Such skill will be helpful here," the healer said. He switched to the German language to answer the question. "Tycho Nissen serves as a night watchman." And after we spoke a few sentences to each other in German, Newman raised a finger and said, "It will be best for you to speak English here. It comes with a variety of accents, and your English betrays you less than your German." Point to remember. My language can betray me. The healer stood before me with his hands to his hips. "How did you come here?" Before I could reply, he held a palm to the air to cancel the question. He stooped as he whispered, "Can you go home?" "I don't know," I replied. "You are not from here," he said. "We had best keep that between us." What is the date?" I asked. "Oh, that was a hard hit on the head," he replied. "Today is the 24th of May. And the year?" The man raised one eyebrow. 1783. May 24. It was June just a moment ago. 1783. Was the revolution over and done? I didn't want to ask, and I didn't want to move, fearing I'd prove that I did not belong in the 18th century. I was a baseball cap among tricorner hats, a cell phone among a stack of wax-sealed letters. How would the 1700s treat a time traveler, especially one who had no idea how it worked? The man's eyebrows realigned, and he stooped to whisper, "Do as I asked tonight. We will know more tomorrow. Speak little. Stay in this place." The pealing of a bell filtered through the wooden walls. Newman stood. "I must go. This man needs the prayers of the brethren. You sit with the soldiers. Come, I'll show you." I followed him through the door in the fireplace wall. The main room held 3 cots sitting against each of the remaining walls. A fellow with his leg wrapped in a bloody bandage moaned as he tossed in his bed opposite the fire. This wounded one is Rufus Simmons, a dragoon, fresh from the war. He is in my care. Only his friend Clayton Robbins stayed to tend him. The man sleeping by the window, that is Fosco Tilt. Fever is one of his complaints. He may have the ague or dysentery. The soldiers left him here 2 days ago. It is unlikely he will rise tonight. What shall I do for them? Pray. Talk to them. There's water in the pitcher. Small sips only, please. Rest and time are the best we can offer them now. Newman wrapped a purple cloak over his shoulders. If one of these men needs me, find me at the meeting hall. Say my name, nothing more, Herr Newman. They will bring me to you. He fastened the clasp at his neck and left the hut. I sat in a cane-bottomed chair by the hearth. Other than the occasional glance at the men in their beds, I stared into the fire. Flames swirled toward the chimney, and questions spiraled through me. How long could I survive in 1783? Should I trust this healing wizard? Could Oma find me? Did she know I needed rescuing? Oma's voice played in my head. Be a clever wolfie. And find out what happens to Ody in Ody Saunters Out of Time at cooperspeak.com.